Greetings. Welcome once again to the Gracious Hope podcast. This is Saturday, the weekend, and today we have a whole lot going on our podcast today. And if you are just joining us, we'd like to say welcome. This is KMTV. We are everywhere, and if you put up to the test, we beat the rest. And of course, this is the weekend podcast. And of course, my name is Alexander Ray, your host, and I'm along here with the co-host, Reverend Suah as Deddeh. I would like to say welcome, Reverend Deddeh.
Welcome, brother. God bless you. This is the day the Lord has made. We're going to rejoice no matter what and be glad in it. We are glad to be back today.
Yes, we are glad to be back, and there's a whole lot we have to carry out here today. And we know Liberia's bicentennial celebration is coming up shortly, and the country's cultural war is deepening and divisive over reports of ritualistic deaths, extraction of human being parts to propitiate a deity in exchange for supernatural power and influence. Now, the Solicitor General, Serenus Cephas, who is accused by Ellen Cochrane, uh, said that he feared for his life because they are threatened by a group of people who are now planning to protest his removal as a public official. And so he has written a letter of complaint to the Justice Minister Musa Dane, as well as a CC copy to Nathaniel Magay. He is the head of the state for presidential affairs. And this matter is getting serious because Councillor Cephas is accused of his involvement in human sacrifice, and he's been accused by Ellen Cochrane. And so this controversy is heating up between these two people, and so we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how the government is going to respond, but we have a whole lot here, and moreover, we see that this cultural war that is going on is going on in the sense that human being parts are being sold on the market. It's a nascent black market going on, and the government is doing a good job by catching, may I say, arresting someone who attempted to sell human being part. And so we'll be coming to that very shortly. But mainly, we want to also bring to your attention that there's a clash between some dark traditional ritual practices and Christianity in Liberia. You saw the headline, this headline. It says, the country devil now detains pastors and members of a church. And they have been protesting at the Ministry of Eternal Affairs of Liberia. We'll bring you that video. And it is a very disturbing time in our nation's history when we are about to celebrate 200 years of existence. And you may ask the question, why is it that we are talking about this whole ritualistic death in Liberia? Remember, Gracious Hope podcast, live podcast on KMTV is designed with the platform to discuss contemporary issues that affect the Christian life of faith. Now, we are pastors, we are teachers of the Word of God, and so it's something that comes up that violates human dignity and respect. We must voice out, especially when people are crying out and protesting that this is a diabolic act. Yes, we must talk about it. So, this is part three of our program on this particular topic. And today we'll be looking at whether Liberia as a nation is it loyal to one God. Remember in the constitutional preamble, it says, by the gracious sovereign Lord, our nation live and survive through God's guidance. Not God's, it said one God with a capital G. So now when we see or hear about these ritualistic killings, as well as human sacrifice in exchange for supernatural power and influence in politics, yes, we have to hold our leaders to account. In other words, they are public servants, and we need to talk about these. And nobody is making allegations here from this platform toward anybody. These are all reports that we are discussing here. So all of the allegations here, we'll look into that, and we'll look at why is it that pastors and church members are arrested by country devil. And it's a new development coming up, and we'll look at the implications involved, as well as the religious, political, cultural implications of posterity. And that's what we'll be looking at today. So if you're just joining us, we'd like to say welcome once again. My name is Alexander Red and Reverend Suah Deddeh. We have a whole mouthful of things to discuss here today.
Indeed, you, as usual, you so eloquently present the issues that we have to discuss. We might not discuss all today because the issue is evolving. I mean, it's changing. So as the issue evolves, we will also follow up on what we are to discuss. But I like how you put it. The focus of this program is not to just be political. Our focus is biblical, but biblical informs the physical, and that's why we have this discussion going on. So anything that affects humanity, it has a biblical response and answer. That's why we discuss this issue. The Bible speaks against human sacrifice. The Bible speaks against ritualistic killing. So as we discuss the issue today, we come with the mind to look at scripture as well as to inform our discussion today. But again, we don't like to hear about these things happening in our country, especially the devil arresting people of the church and carrying them to the bush. Is interesting to know that. So we will do our best to discuss the issues today. Of course, if you have comments, we will welcome your comments, your views, your acceptance or rejection or disagreement. We look forward to all of your comments, because I'll tell you what, your comments help us to be strong and improve this podcast, because it is for you that we are doing this thing today. So, brother, it's always good when I come to join you to discuss this hard hitting topic, but by the grace of God, we do our best to discuss today.
Okay, so let's start off here right away. Now, the Solicitor General, Sereno Cephas, wrote a letter of complaint to the Minister of Justice, Musa Dean, alleging that certain group of people, they are prominent in their positions in Liberia, who are planning for his ouster. Moreover, he expressed in his letter that he feared for his life and his entire household. So he is calling for increased security for his protection, because he has been lied upon by Ellen Crookham. Well, we don't know how credible her assertion or claim is, because we played our audio last week on last week's program, and so all this is all allegations. Okay, until we can see some ironclad evidence. But the reality or the fact is that, yes, is there ritualistic killing going on in Liberia? Of course. Uh, is there any evidence? Of course. We have heard about the Maryland saga, where, in fact, the citizenry got up and they protest, they burned the police station because of what? Ritualistic killing. So we cannot deny the fact that it is not going on. However, the police is stepping up. The police are stepping up to handle those who are selling human being parts. And we'll come to that video with a 22-year-old man from Cape County who was caught or arrested by police trying to sell a human being part to a man at a funeral home. But before we get into that, Reverend Deddeh will take a look at what the Solicitor General in his latest letter of complaint had to say.
Yes,
Reverend Deddeh?
certainly. Yeah, thank you, brother. We have a copy. It's all on social media of the Solicitor General's letter to the Justice Minister, and it's a lengthy letter. It's here, and we also see a reportage on this letter. That means a media institution called the Smart News Liberia lifted a story from this letter from the Solicitor General. So instead of reading the whole letter, we will look at the reportage published by the Smart News Liberia, and it was published on October 8th. So we'll just go through it quickly and see and know what the Solicitor General is fearful about, his concern about his life and that of his family, and what that means to the national security of the country. So this is what the story says. The headlines: Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Sema Serena Cephas. Moreover, the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Sema Serena Cephas, has accused former Associate Justice Kabina Mohammed Jane, Liberia Council of Churches President uh, Bishop Kotu Brown, former Finance Minister Mr. David Fahad, Independent National Commission on Human Rights Chairman Councilor T. Dempster Brown, and Economic Freedom Fighters Commander-in-Chief Emmanuel Gonkwa, allegedly threatening his life, his wife, and that of his children. And the story continues. In Councilor Cephas's letter addressed to the Minister of Justice, Councilor Frank Mossadin complained of alleged threats posed to his life, his wife, and children orchestrated by those names mentioned. The story continued. The letter indicated that former Associate Justice Kabina Mohammed Janet, Bishop Kotu Brown, Councilor, let me move this a little bit. Councilor Dempster Brown, who Cephas said is wrongly using the RNCHR for publicity purposes to besmear the we as government, and convicted felons from the so-called Economic Freedom Fighters EFF, who, according to Councilor Cephas, have taken to the airwaves in manners suitable for their selfish interests to publicly call for his unconditional and unceremonious removal as Solicitor General on such flimsy and unfounded allegations. The story in the Smart News Liberia continues, and he quoting Councilor Cephas now. They want to use threats to have me resign and issue a public threat order to take me to court, and for this reason have extended their campaign of fear, terror, and disinformation to my darling wife and my family through radio pronouncements and newspaper publications, as demonstrably shown by the attached newspaper's article in a quarrel attributed to Councilor Brown. So in short, Councilor Cephas is fearful of his life. He believes people are doing everything to cause tears and confusion so that he can be removed from his office of Solicitor General. He continued, through the letter, Councilor Cephas is calling the attention of Justice Minister on what he called open threats on his life and his family, close relatives, and friends, which, according to the Solicitor General, is a vivid and rule is a divide and rule game being employed and heavily played to apparently threaten the Justice Minister to submission. So, in other words, he's sending a signal to the Justice Minister that this is intended to cause divide and rule in the Justice Ministry that may not be in his Cephas interest. He continued. The letter further narrated that it's a calculated plot of forces of evil to destabilize the prosecution department of the Ministry of Justice and install someone at the detriment of the government of Liberia. So Cephas is bringing different issues in his letter, that this issue is also meant to cause rift or confusion in the prosecutory arm of the government, so as to create situation detrimental to the government of Liberia. And then this last one, according to the SG's letter, his family is living in fear and can hardly leave their home because of their negative campaigns. And then this last quote, I want the communication to claim the Justice Minister urgent attention and necessary steps to be taken to protect not just my office, but also my character and family against any possible violent citizens arrest. I will only rely upon the law that I know so well by practice and procedure to defend my case and those of my family in a court of law where necessary, Councilor Cephas' letter stated. So this is, in a nutshell, is Councilor Cephas' letter to the Justice Minister of the Republic of Liberia. He's concerned about his life. And so as it is now, he's also calling for step up in his personal security details so that his life and that of his family can be protected. So as far as it comes to cookruns or tip, this is the fallback, the drop off from what's happening right now We don't know to what extent Councilor Cephas left is threatened, but this is what he said. We take it as word. So we're following up as we discussed. Maybe there will be new ounces of information from this letter, Alex, and then we can take it from there. So far, this is Councilor Cephas' letter has been published by the Smart News Liberia.
Yeah, but it is not fair though to the counselor Cephas. I mean, it's just allegation against him, and then boom, everybody against him. They want to remove him just like that without any ironclad evidence. Is that how our country is to be run?
But this is now a
That is the
strange thing,
question.
buddy. This is always happening in Liberia because the Civil is not the only one. It happened to Rated Knuckles when things came up. They were called for his resignation. So this is now a new phenomenon as unique to Councilor Cephas. People will have to say. I mean, we have a democracy. We're not let by people say, but people always have to say. And when they hear things, maybe that they have not have clue about, that they have no specific evidence about. They will always call up for resignation so that people will see again. Based on your point, people want to make sure he is the Solicitor General. They want to be clear and clean, and that's what people calling for his
Exactly. So why don't they bring him to
resignation.
court? Why don't they bring him to court then to be smearing his character? Like he mentioned Fahad, he mentioned this pastor in Cotto Brown. He is the I believe the leader of the Liberia Council of Churches, and he expressed his disdain for Councillor Cephas, and so I mean justice must prevail. We all know that, but it is a whole idea about this whole cancel culture. Remember, we talked about that, right?
Yeah,
Cancel culture.
and again, don't forget, and again, people, they don't forget you are journalists, and beside us being clergy, we working in media people. People always do what is happening. It's not strange in our society. It's not strange. So whether they go to court or not, they'll always say the thing is happening. Now, if they say it and you feel aggravated, now Councilor Stephen is better than the justice minister. I mean, he's concerned about his life, which is justifiable, and that of his family, which is also justifiable. And Councilor Dempster Brown is a renowned councilor as well in Liberia. Now, if he sees things happening and he's calling out the Solicitor General, it all calls for them to go to court, like you said, to make sure that the court, which is should be a faithful or impartial group of institution to look into this matter. But as it is right now, don't forget, people will say what they see and what they believe in the rest of that. Whether it's true or false, you have a right to also go to court. And I like what Councilor Sifa said here. He will also take the law. He will go to the law that he knows well. Okay, in other words, he's not going to be violent, which is the good thing. He want to go to the law, and so the law takes its course, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, but it is not a good feeling at all to be living in fear and anxiety. In your country, you
Exactly.
should be free and be at peace. However, we don't know the detail or the background
Yeah.
between these two people, Councillor Cephas and Ellen Cochrane. She made the allegations on a tape to the media, and we played that tape last week. She is the one who's stirring up the pot. We know that she's involved in an indictment. She's indicted in the U.S. court on the allegation of fraud, medical fraud, something about defrauding the United States government of funds that were intended for health care in Liberia during the pandemic. And so she's facing that indictment. However, she is, or she was, a former government official who headed the Liberia Airport Authority, if my memory can serve me correctly. And so we don't know what is the back and forth between these two people, what's going on. And based on her conversation, not conversation, but based on her allegation, uh, it seems like both of them, they got some kind of a background. Something is going on in the back. We don't know. In the past, Front Page Africa released this. She had a case against her, some sort of mismanagement during her tenure. And so later on, her case was dismissed, and nobody knows who dismissed the case. The Minister of Justice, Musa Dean, said he had no idea about the case, and who helped her to leave the country because she was under investigation. She left Liberia, but who did so? Nobody knows, except some sort of rumor that the police director was also caught in a tape, okay, letting her know that the president of Liberia didn't want her to leave, but how she left, nobody knows.
Yeah.
And so, but we don't know the background of everything. But again, we are discussing this because it involves the sanctity of human life, integrity, honesty as a public official, and when it comes to human service, we all are concerned because those who serve in public offices are held accountable constitutionally to respect human life and dignity.
Exactly.
And
But
and and
one thing don't forget too, Alex, in her tip I will listen to, she did not do the human sacrifice. She said she did not do it. So
yeah,
that means she did not carry out human sacrifice, even though she said she was nudged to do that by Councilor Cephas or what's it, Ofari Dua and the rest of the names she called, but she did not carry it out. So that means she did not perform human sacrifice. We need to note that, because if
yes.
she had carried out the human sacrifice, then it will even add more flame, more fuel to the flame, like Councilor Cephas and other incorporation, and she did it, but she did not do it. So we need to know that too.
Yeah. And but she said she did agree. She was on board to do besides the Virgin Girls because of $48,000. So she was willing to also buy the cow to do that
Yeah,
sacrifice. But
yeah,
again, Cephas alleged that she's an atheist, which means she does not believe that God exists. But Cephas, I understand he's a Christian. And so I'm not sure what's going on here. But again, this is out there, ritualistic death, uh, uh, something that we all are concerned about. And we are talking about this because we want it to stop. Okay. We want it to stop because a lot of people are grieving in our hearts, and we can see it all over the place. And people are, crying, their relatives, especially the incident in Maryland County where people protest. And we need to have a country of peace and tranquility where life is respected. And we have a history of human sacrifice way back during the Turbo regime, where some government officials were newsed, as you can see here, way back in 1979. And so it is a persistent thing. It's been going on for a while. And so to stop that, we see a lot of advocacy groups are stepping out, and they want this to stop. They wanted to stop right away because it is a total violation, or may I say gross violation of human rights and decency. And talking about that, right now we see a black market, a nascent black market of selling human parts growing in Liberia. And how do we know that? Well, we came across the a tip. Okay, that is a videotape of a confession of a young man, 22 years old, from Kiman County. He was lured into receiving some sort of a promise that if he goes around and solicit from people to sell human parts, he will get his share of the money. And the police did a good job by nabbing him. So he is at a police station here, the police station in this video, confessing about his involvement in selling human parts. And let me just bring it on the screen right here now. Okay, let me just bring it on the screen here. And so we'll play this video right now, and see what we can hear from this young man.
What did the man tell you to go tell the man to the funeral home? Now I want to know.
Oh, la one I said, he said, I'm going to tell him, man, I'm going to be contact if we buy somebody there.
Okay, if they buying him up in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you told the man to the funeral home, what he told you?
He said, what are living him?
Okay.
What are dead maybe? I said, no. No, I can't tell. And I dead him.
So your friend told you that you are leaving him up in your
Yeah.
there. Okay. So how he told you how you can get a living him up in?
No, he not tell me that.
But he was having a living him up in.
Mm-mm.
Where your friend in?
I don't even know his name.
But you and the man together, you go in the toilet to go toilet. Then how can you not know the man in?
We live in the yard in like to my house.
Mm-hmm.
Like chop low on there. So they can come and sit down over there to wait for people and chop.
But you tell the man I get it.
Because you there, like my first time going there, like he didn't want to me there. Since I go there, they been on me, on ready to work, the way I can be working, I can be seen. So I hardly walk about.
Okay. So when you tell the funeral home man, what he say?
He say, okay, I hear it. Then he tell me, what I get from I say, yeah. I say, give me no money, give me no money.
Okay. So how much you're going to say one of the human being for? Your friend I tell you. So that only you can go make the contact. Your friend say you just go tell the man say you get human being for sale.
Yeah, you send me there.
Okay. So when you go there, the man ask you if you get phone for him to be calling you.
Yeah.
So from there, what happened now? That how you left from there?
No, you not give me. From there, you see me walk from to the funeral home way, coming in the town way.
And then
so
you
by
walk.
time I made that board and inspired the men and the officers, then none of it. Yeah, never knew.
Okay.
So I check the I mean, and I see how can we call the men, but $10 water. I said, oh, baby, I test you. Then he gave me 1 paper water.
Okay.
The time I drink now, I stay on the road to bed. The same men on me, they hold me, they tie me,
Okay.
they beat me.
Who the men now? The men from the area from the funeral home?
No.
Okay, get community people.
Yeah, some guys now, I don't even know whether they live in that community. So they hold me.
What do your heart tell you, Nana? Your friend say you must go do human being business. Yeah. Today you find yourself, you done to your normal horse again, doing your normal thing, you different place. What thing happening to you, Nana?
I suffer.
Okay.
They play that, Nana, I suffer.
Well, you're going to do the human being business, you're going to get plenty of money, oh. That's why you're meant to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So where your friend is now?
Yeah, he said.
You get his number?
One, and I'm looking one doing.
Okay. He not get phone.
Okay. If you kind of yard, you see them there.
Okay.
So I tell you about one asking for me.
Okay. Yeah, he tell you how much one human being can go for. So that the living human being say okay for you to go carry to sell it to the funeral home. Yeah, but he only tell you that he want introduce you. When he tell you say he want introduce you to human being business for you to be selling human being, why you told him as a friend?
I'm not telling you nothing.
And how you say you go to the funeral home to go start arranging the business. So it mean you agree to do the human being business with him. Because you go there now, right?
Yeah, he carry me there.
Okay, he carry you and you said to you agree because he told you how the business go. That's why you go there for, right? Talk loud now.
Yeah.
Okay. So you hearing that plenty of things happening in the country here. People losing every day, people dying, people killing people every day. Then your friend go tell you say you must do human being business. Then you sit down there, you say you agree to it for you to go say human being to the funeral home. Why you tell your friend say no, you won't do human being business?
What something you saw me and then you call me an innocent to it. Like they use me now. Like they use me. My brother me to there because of our Philippines. I'm missing the work I can go to people. Well, I 2 days and now you go to work because of the period.
But you know that now you will go to jail, Google for the thing you try to do today.
I know, baby.
Your people then that will be watching you now. What you get to tell them? Your man, your pa, when yeah, they kind of thing say your son won't go do human being business, you won't sell human being. How they will feel about you?
They will feel bad.
Okay. What pay your man?
Mama, we in the interior, my parents.
We part of the interior.
They play far from the call the place to win.
So win?
Yeah, so win.
Okay. What pay your pa?
My parents are real, that farmer.
When they move you from here today, you go by, you see that your friend, and he say you're more continue the business, you will stay doing, right?
I will go back where I come from because I'm not even here that type of encouragement can't do me again.
That only because they catch you today that one make it, but we are going to do the business, you get plenty of money, you're going to continue it, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. This is Voice of Liberia TV, and you're watching us live. We're here with a 22-year-old boy. You say, what's your name again? By Samula. His friend encouraged him for them to do human being business today. And according to him, he went there to talk to the funeral home man that they got human being for sale. In the wake of ritualistic killings, Voice of Liberia TV, we're live. My name is Obed Sebastian Jipa, and we're live here in Broville. And so you say the thing happening in VOA, right? VOA is saying the funeral home there. You think when you go to the funeral home and I will see him, you will show him that you told him about the business today? Okay, the funeral, the man who get a funeral home.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go to him to go ask him about the business. So it mean your friend tell you that the man involved in human being business, and why you go tell him that you get business, right?
I don't know whether like he joined before.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about it. Like just today, let yourself go between me. You can find me out here, but I don't.
Okay, so I believe we
Describe the funeral
got
home.
the picture
Just
of
describe the funeral
everything right now.
Yeah, we know
Okay,
what is the name.
now that was a young 22-year-old man um, involved in selling of human being body parts, and it is saddening, very sad, that such business is going on the ground. Reverend Deddeh.
Yeah, I'm just sitting and thinking which funeral home he went to. He did not mention the funeral home name. He does not know his friend's name. I'm a little suspicious about not the validity of what's happening. But the fact that you don't know somebody's name and somebody comes and tells you about he must part expected life, he must somewhere he doesn't know where the life. It's kind of low, not too clear to me. It's not too clear to
Mhm.
me. It's not to take away from what he just confessed to, but it's not too clear to me. He said he is in pain. He's not working. And he's not suspicious of somebody telling him about human past, and he go ahead to the funeral home with no clear indication whether there's a human. So it's too cloudy in the model to me. Actually, that's what I see for now. I don't really know what to make out of that. And again, I thought it was a police station, but this was a media institution, Voice of America TV. He was interviewed by Ben Sebastian. So initially, I thought it was a police station, but it's not a police station. If you can recall, information minister issued a statement. I wish we have to read that too about
Mhm.
the same situation going on about the allegations of human past or ritualistic killing being perpetrated in Liberia. We can come to that later on. But for this tip, honestly, I have a lot of questions and answers from what I just listened to.
Yes, and I do as well. However, it is a report from a reporter from a station, and I mean the police. I mean did well to arrest him. He must have done something wrong, or he must have been doing something wrong for
Mm-hmm,
him to be
mm-hmm,
arrested. And
mm-hmm.
so some of our viewers here, some from VOA in Liberia watching us, and also we see a comment here from this guy. All age issues can be resolved through nonviolent social change. That is the best solution for now. Take it or leave it. Yes, we believe in nonviolence. We believe that we all can reconcile and put these evil things away and live in a land where we love each other. Because that is a lack of love in our country that is causing all of these um, situations. Lack of love and not enough job. Look at this young man. I mean, he said he's a masonry. He knows how to build, but there's no job for him. And so he resolved to follow someone who lure him into getting quick money or fast money. And
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
some other people
yeah.
who are watching from Lima County, where Sano County, is that Tunisia? What is that? Tunisia? Is that Tunisia? And someone is watching from
Tony C,
Kidmount
Tony C.
County.
I think the name is Tony C.
Okay, 20C.
Yeah.
And our friend Ben Suah is watching, and someone is thanking us for this platform. Okay, if you're just joining us, we'd like to say welcome. This is the Gracious Hopes live podcast. My name is Alexander Ray, along with Reverend Suah S. Deddeh. And this platform is talking about contemporary issues that affect the Christian life of faith. And we have more coming up. And we'll take a quick break here. And coming up is going to be the clash between the devil and the church. I know it may sound very strange to you, but it is a reality. And of course, we will have that coming up pretty soon here. That tension that is going on in Guatemala, Bon County, we'll be talking about that pretty soon. And so, welcome once again if you're just joining us. Of course, this program, of course, will bring you the second part pretty soon. Reverend Deddeh, you mentioned about having something from the government that you wanted to read.
Oh yes, 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 yes. I'm glad. I almost forgot that myself. The information minister issued a press release on September 30th regarding the same ritualistic killing in Liberia. All the reports been receiving. The information minister, Honorable Lecter Rennie, released this press statement on his press release. And I'll read it. It's not too long. I read it word by word so that people hear what the information minister is saying or the information ministry is saying regarding this whole issue. And it's in Morovia, September 30th, 2021. Information Minister Letter Rini has described as welcoming but utterly revealing police findings into social media claims and wide popular rumors of ritualistic killings in some parts of the country. This follows postings of gruesome images purported to be Liberians who were murdered for ritualistic purposes. During a media engagement on Wednesday, September 29, the leadership of the Liberian National Police dismissed claims that there has been a spate of ritualistic killings in the country. LNP authorities said they have not established any evidence. LNP authorities says they have not established any evidence of such killings as widely rumored. Commenting Thursday upon arrival in the country from his official visit to Washington, D.C., Minister Rennie said it was sickening and wicked for some Liberians to engage in such a devilish ploy only to damage the image of the government and the country for personal political gains. The press release continued, citing specific cases that the police had dismissed as far as from the truth. The information minister said it was chilling to learn that some of the assertions made by so-called victims of the alleged crimes had no iota of truth, and that most could not even be verified to have taken place, including the one of a man claiming to have been witched to Bone County to be murdered. In other words, the short of the long is information ministry is saying that the reports and rumors about ritualistic killing in Liberia are untrue and unfounded. That's just the short of the long. I think that's what the press release is all about.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And I did say Voice of America for that video clip. It was not Voice of America, it is Voice of Liberia. Someone corrected me right away. That's good. That's good. And someone is saying here, corruption, poverty, lack of love are reasons why such things are happening. And I mean, I agree with him on that too, particularly with the lack of love. Because if we love each other or if we love one another, why would we be involved in these things? Or even if we love God with all our heart, our mind, our soul, and our strength, then why would we want to go out of that realm to seek supernatural power by offering human sacrifice to appease or propitiate a deity? There's no need to do that. Okay, so once again, if you're joining us here, we'll get now on our second part. But before we get on our second part here, we'll take a break here quickly and we'll be right back. Okay, so don't go away. We'll be right. All right, all right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, there is a clash between the devil and the church. And this is very serious because protesters gather at the Ministry of Internal Affairs to protest against the unwarranted arrest of pastors and church members in Watala Bon County and those arrested were taken to the Zoe bush. In other words, the country devil arrested church members and a pastor. For what reason? We don't know, but we have a video clip here to play on this matter. And this is very serious because it is the clash of cultural war. May I say cultural war going on here? Where does our loyalty lie? Where is our loyalty? In other words, where is the nation's soul? And if we can give a background here, we know Liberia was constitutionally founded on godly principles. And we can see that in the preamble where it says that only one God that we depend on. And that one God is responsible for our guidance and our survival as a people. Therefore, if we see other gods inserting themselves or exerting themselves, then we are concerned. And it happens just few days ago, okay? It happened that a country devil, along with followers, seized the entire church and took them away, violently beat them up and took them. And this is what is happening. And so for Christians, we are concerned, why are we not getting along with every other people within our neighbor, or what is going on here? So let us bring in this video here and to play it here for you to know what's going on in Batala, Bon County. These are church leaders, okay, who are complaining at the Ministry of Eternal Affairs. They want their pastors and their members to be released because they are demanding that they scratch their skin or cut their skin and put the devil's mark or tattoo on their skin. And they are refusing to do so because they have a strong conviction of what they believe in. They believe Jesus Christ is the only God in person that they know to worship and not an idol. And so this is a big problem going on in Batala, Bon County. And let's see or hear what is being said here by these brave ministers of the gospel.
To saving knowledge. So based on those things, the soul and the sinners who started in the evil caucus intend to go against God's message and say that it is true that we should mark our skin. It is true that we put tattoo on ourselves, and that which is unacceptable. And God is against it, scriptural. God is against it. There are many, more than 10, more than 15.
Are they member of your church?
Of course.
What's the name of your church?
Saint Assembly Ministry International.
So where have you people gone to take the gospel that you were arrested? Where have you people gone to take the gospel?
Where were they taken to?
No, where you went first?
Where were they specifically were you talking about?
Where exactly were you?
Batala.
Batala?
Yes. Batala.
So you
they were apprehended, they were brutalized. They were brutalized, they were maltreated. And the superintendent is aware. The general cover is aware.
Did they go against the norms of the society?
They back the evil caucus. That is why you see they are still maltreating them. When I'm very, very disappointed in Chankas and also in the Minnesota is in internal affairs, because they told us to hold our peace, and we hold our peace. And last night they came back and arrested the rest of the pastor at Batala and brutalized and dragged them in the soul booth, and not regarding how you call it, not regarding Jankas and even Zanzakawa as they call his own man.
So I'm concerned. So how was it like? Were you people at a particular village within the Batala
Our church is
area?
in Batala.
Okay. So it
was it doing service time when you guys were arrested?
Okay, then when it comes to that, our pastor that residing in Bon County.
What's your name, sir?
I'm Pastor Tawe. Okay. You were arrested, taken to the Zobuch. Montserrat headquarters are not aware of the arrest. Later on, call was made by other members of the church. Pastors, overseers from Montserrat, they all went to Bon County along with their wife and their children. And when they got there to find out what is happening with the pastor that had been taking the Zobuch, there was no response from the police. All of a sudden, citizens started to threaten the pastors. And the pastor started to tell them that what you people are doing against the word of God, y'all get God to contend with. And when the pastor made a statement, there's a lady issued rape on the pastor. And the sheriff and the judge there, he went and sent the rape to the pastor. And when they were all at the station at that time, when the rape came to them. And at the point in which he brought the rape, what happened next? They said, we are waiting to go to the court. But police hold fast to our motorbike, hold fast to our property. The police refused to hold fast to the property. The police refused to secure life and property within Bond County at that point of time. So what happened? There's a federal king to stand in the gap for them and say, we will host you people. At the end of the day, they went to the court. While in the court, they put the Suah out. When the Suah coming, when the judge heard that the Suah coming, he ran away.
He escaped.
He escaped. There was nobody found. They all bowed down to the Suah. And we at Church can now bow down to Zoes. We stood for it, and at the end, we were standing outside the courtyard, and I went to the federal king and said, oh, we will hold you people. All of a sudden, we went to a house. He called the Zoes at night and came and took the additional pastors that went to confront what was happening in Brown County.
When did that happen?
That happened yesterday.
What's the name of
That happened yesterday. And at the point of the time right now, they have collected all the phones. We don't know where they are right now. They are taking the phone to a new destiny.
Then how you got
How did you get the information that they are being tortured? There are some violence activities.
Okay, then the sister, the women, that this morning they called them.
They called them.
They told the Zobu this morning. Yeah, so it's true that the women have phones, but all the pastor phones they took off from them.
Okay.
And they're on phone right now in the bush.
Is there anything of sexual violence reported by the women when they communicated with you people? Like,
No, we're not getting that information.
So do you
because there is
think
no communication now
This
with them.
action you're taking going to
There is no communication now.
but you sense initiation? Problem?
The action right now you're taking by protesting, especially in the sense of the internet ministry, is it going to adhere to your situation?
Sure, because police bowed down the zoo, the judge bowed down the zoo, and turn out there he in link with the zoo in the bush. That we have come to him. And he promised us that our people will be released. He gave the full assurance. That's why we kept peace. We went to a citizen house, thinking that our people will be released, but later on, they came and dragged our people, beating and taking them to the bush.
Lay some of their feet.
You can do that.
Bogabo Hill and all. Chopping
election.
Bogabo Hill, putting him up in Bogabo Hill, putting him in Bogabo Hill. That is right.
The minister has said he wants to have a conference with you people to see how best of them.
How we have a problem when you're already aware?
Tying
We
people
already
in
know.
the
What
white
assurance do we need? When we have the what assurance we want betrayed. What assurance do we need? So we want to know a heart. If the heart is of God, we be concerned of
You're
those that
coming
in the
here
book.
today, there's no action.
We'll remain
We will
here.
remain
We'll remain
here
here until
until
3 to 4
God
days.
release the people on
And
the
there are
book.
more going to come. That just you see here.
Just number.
They all come get paid.
The
The entire row. Because the number of the ministry is much.
No, people are eating the books.
So they are saying you should put a team together to go.
No.
We cannot meet in. You're already aware. You're not in or what's going on. You're aware.
If you're ignorant about I will always have communicate with them like how I communicated with him. Communicated with Junkas. It's just for any.
Afro Tower.
That's what I see. They're aware.
So can you tell your name?
I'm Pastor Abel J. Jeffrey.
Do you have any positions in the ministry?
I'm an overseer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Reverend Deddeh, that is a serious problem there. Really gross human rights violation.
It's beyond human rights violation. It's just that people are playing with the fate of other people, and this is the dangerous, very dangerous phenomenon. Because trust me, the church should not be violent. We don't want that. But when the church is pushed to defend itself and its member, some people in the church might turn to be violent, which we don't want. Because to have pastors and church members arrested by zoos, why is it happening? What led to that? I'm not too clear. But it is very, very, very disheartening to see this happening. And he's saying more of the members are coming. Now, if more members come, some might not be controlled. Even though we pray that everybody be controlled by the leaders of the church, but some members might not be controlled. And when violence erupts, it will not be a good thing in Batala Bond County. So we hope, and then he's also accusing the Internal Affairs Minister of being cahoots with the Zoos. So in other words, the issue of law now is absent, because if the people cannot respect the representation of law, who is the Internal Affairs representation or representative, then it's a serious issue. Because if the person who should be standing between the church and the zoos is seen as being on the side of the zoos, then the issue of trust in the law and order is dismissive. The police, according to the pastor, also ran away. So that means the church is standing on its own, and that is a dangerous phenomenon, because I don't hope that happens. But if some of the members decide to fight back and say we're going to the zoo bush to get our members, they are going to be bloodshed, and that's what I am fearful. I'm very fearful of. My next question is, why was the pastor arrested? I'm not too clear. Maybe you get in the first place. Why was this pastor arrested in the first place? What did he do? Did he preach against the zoos? Did he say anything against the zoo? Did he pester the zoos with statements and words that moved them into anger to make them to do what they did? I am not clear on what led to the first arrest and detention of the pastor. Maybe you are clear on that.
Yes, we need that clarity, and that is why I did send out a letter to the leaders of the church, that church that is protesting, and hopefully they will appear next Saturday on this program. I'm hoping, so they can give us some clarity as to what is going on. But the violence involved is what I decry, and also I see that as more than just violation of human rights, but total disregard for those who are practicing their faith. And even if they have said something offensive, which of course, if it is biblically based, then I don't think they should be harming anyway. If they have any issue or any problem of feeling offensive, they have the court system, they have the legal system that they can go by, and that is a way to resolve things, in a non-violent way. But using violence against other people, I believe it is totally out of whack. And
Indeed.
so it comes to the whole question here: where is our nation's soul? Ritualistic killing going on, human being parts on the market, in the black market, and the church versus the country devil. I mean, we are seeing things culturally as a war going on here, Reverend Deddeh, no matter how people look at it, but it is a cultural war going on, and it's going to foment disarray culturally for the next generation. Look at a young man, 22 years old, trying to deal with human being parts. Can you imagine what is going on in his head? It's all about the money, getting the money. And the young generation, the young population, if you look at Liberia's demographics right now, the young population, the young people, they are on the verge, which means they are increasing in population. And when there's no increase in job, education, and other area, even the healthcare system, we are having a time bomb awaiting us.
Yeah. You just nailed the nail on his head. I mean, you just took the words from my mouth. And if the youth, the other time when I was on a trip, we had the ambassador accredited near Washington D.C. and he discussed some forum. And I asked the question: do you have the youth involved or youth component involved in that? He said no. If you recall, he said no. Now, that kind of baffles me a little bit, because right now our focus should be on the young people. I'm not saying exclusively, but these people have the propensity to cause a destabilization of our country, because they have nothing to do. Out of mind is the devil's workshop. In other words, if they have nothing to do, no job, nothing, no vocation, nothing to engage them, to keep them positively focused, they can get involved in all sorts of things. We don't encourage them. We don't pat them on the back for getting involved in ritualistic killing and sending them back. God forbid. But this is what we have when the youth are not being taken care of. The question is, what is the gender ministry doing? Maybe they have their own functionality that they have to do in order to cater to these young people and children. We're hearing that children are on the street saying it's not a duty for children to stay on the street. When I was growing up in Liberia, I
Mhm.
school if I went to
Yeah,
school. So that's a
yeah,
good thing.
I do.
But to the extent where the population of young people are too much on the street, I don't know the validity of that, and I can't really speak to that. So I'm just saying what I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or false. Again, we got to follow up that. But the point I'm making is that if able hands, able-bodied men have nothing to do, they will get involved in things that they should not be doing, things that are not good for society. And this is where they are 22 years old. Even though he say he's sick and the rest of that, he can't do anything because he has pain, but he has a profession or mission.
Yeah.
So if there are other young people like him who are just there in the society, not get involved in positive issues, their minds, their heads can be used by people who have negative plans for the country and use them in the wrong direction. And this is my fear, and this is our prayers. The program we are focused on biblical as well as physical. We haven't even come to some of the scriptures that deal with dust and not kill. I mean, the Bible is against that, vehemently against that. There are a lot of scripture that speak to that. In Deuteronomy, Leviticus, thou shalt not kill. So ritualistic killing is killing innocent people. It should not be going on, at least it should not be going on. Something has to be done.
Yeah, and that is why people are, voicing out right now because this has been going on for a long time, and it is persistent, or it is being on a consistent basis. Whenever election, especially when election is coming around the corner, you find a lot of missing parts on dead bodies, and we're just hoping and praying, that God will stretch His hand of grace and help our people. But it requires repentance of our sin and turn away from our wickedness and act and pray and asking for forgiveness so that our country can move forward. If we look biblically, we see that all in the scriptures, and hopefully we all can see reason to stop doing all that we are doing right now in our country, especially hearing these bad news. But we all pray that there will be good news coming out of our country. We are hoping that we'll progress in every way, and to see the country moving forward in its educational sector, health, and other areas where it will be beneficial to Liberians as a whole. Because the next generation, well, we have to prepare the next generation. And when I mean we, the whole country, not
Yeah,
just only government.
yeah, I agree 100%, Alex. I agree 100%. And you talked about the scripture about us turning from our wicked ways. I will just read that so that as we close today, people will
Mhm.
reflect on the scripture because that's where we should be right now. That's Second Chronicles 7:14. It says, "If my people who are called by my name, my people who are called by my name, we are called by God's name. We are God's creation. We are God's children. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves. It starts with humility. Will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from the wicked ways. So that's conditions. Humble yourself, pray and seek God's face and turn from the wicked ways. Then God says He will hear from heaven and heal the land. So this is where the church comes in. And then if the church that should be doing that is attacked, and then take him to Zobuch. That's what you said. There's a class of culture, the religion, Christianity being a class with our own culture. I'm not against zoos. No, I'm not. That's part of our culture. But to the extent where the zoos are taking on the church, that is a dangerous thing that is happening. It should not be. So Second Chronicles 7:14 should be something that you look at, pray about, ask God to help us to take ourselves from the situation and let's lead our country in the right direction. We don't want bloodshed, we don't want chaos, we don't want division. It will happen, but we should not see ourselves going back to the Stone Ages anymore.
Exactly. And we'd like to thank you so much for tuning in on our podcast, Gracious Hope Live podcast. Every Saturday we are here starting at 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and 8 p.m. GMT. Reverend Suah Deddeh and I will be back here next week, and we'll continue here. We have some guests lined up. We're just waiting for some for response from them, and hopefully we'll have next week Saturday a good time again to bring you information that will make you aware of what is going on in our homeland. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be here tomorrow afternoon. Reverend Deddeh will be here with his Bible study in the evening time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I will be here at 3 p.m. Central time. Until then, we'd say thank you so much, and of course, may God richly bless you.
Yes, indeed. God bless you.